Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Memory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our NFL Week 7 preview between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cincinnati Bengals. Now let's look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Steelers.
I look at two key matchups for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I look at Ike Taylor versus A.J. Green. He has to win that battle down in, down out. And James Harrison in pass coverage. The Bengals will try to put him in situations where he's going to have to cover instead of rush. He has to win that battle. And I know Dick LeBeau has some schemes drawn up for Andy Dalton. The beauty of playing a divisional opponent is that you know their tendencies and you know what their weaknesses are. But when you look at the offensive side of football, you look at a team in Pittsburgh that does a great job, best in the league, at getting off the field on third down. Let's go inside the lab to see how they're able to accomplish that.
The Steelers are one of the best teams on third downs this year in the NFL, and one of the ways they do it is by utilizing a blitz beater route throughout the course of the play, and it's effective. Let's say they run the outside stretch throughout the course of the game, and now it's 3rd and 7, and they want to get the first down, so they go spread and they want to have their play action off of their stretch that they've been running all game. And here's the blitz beater route. You have the guy coming across, which is Heath Miller coming across. You have your clear out by Mike Wallace. Antonio Brown is usually the inside guy that's running this deep in route. 12 yards, 6 to 8 yards is this overall. You have your guy working up top. Now, where this is effective is that it puts this backer that's usually here in a tough situation. Either I'm going to come underneath this dig or I'm going to try to press this over route. Either way, it's going to be a bad choice. But if they decide to blitz, let's say they decide to bring pressure in this gap as Ben Roethlisberger conducts the fake, he knows he has this route as his hot route, as his mid-read route, and as his play is about to end route as this guy continues to work this way. So this is a blitz beater type of route that's going to be open 3 times throughout the course of the play. And it's one of the more effective ways you can convert third downs, which is why the Steelers is one of the best in the business.
Now let's move over to the Bengals in this matchup. I look at Andy Dalton. He has to do a better job of protecting the football. He can't have those turnovers versus a team like the Pittsburgh Steelers that love to disguise their blitzes. And BenJarvus Green-Ellis, yes, he's averaging 3.8 yards a carry. That has to continue. He has to increase that versus Pittsburgh. They have to stay on the field offensively. And I look at the tight end, Jermaine Gresham. He's going to need a big game because he's going to have to control the underneath coverage of the Steelers defense. But let's go inside the lab and look at the Bengals defense to see how their linebackers can be effective in pass coverage versus the Pittsburgh Steelers.
This week versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, look for the Bengals linebackers to be more involved in the pass defense department, which means they got to communicate better. And a lot of times you can use a me-you type of communications, like, okay, I got this guy, you take this guy. If this guy's threatening your progression, then I'll take this guy coming into my progression. Just like that, it's called me-you type of communication. See right here, let's say the middle linebacker, they're in the I formation and they've ran the ISO a couple of times, the lead a couple of times, and now they're going to do play action off of it. The linebacker is going to check run, which is this tailback. He's checking run, and now his responsibility is who's threatening my progression, which would be this tight end. And you see the tight end work this way like he's going to reach block this end, and which could occupy this backer, but having communicated with each other, he lets this guy know that, hey, if this guy crosses your face, he's in my zone, I got him. You take the next threat to your progression, which would be this fullback coming out in the flat, which is why you see this linebacker buzzing out to number 2. And number 3 right here, the corner has the wide receiver lined up, but these 2 guys are key. He checks run, drops back into his zone, takes his linebacker because this linebacker threatened his progression. Now people ask, well, what about the backside? What about the backside slant? How you protect yourself versus that? Well, on the backside, you have the boundary corner jamming this wide receiver and forcing him inside to his inside help, which is the weak side backer. So now they have a situation where they're bracketing this wide receiver to protect themselves versus the backside slant. So if the Bengals utilize this type of communication this week versus the Pittsburgh Steelers, they can have a lot of success in stopping the short to intermediate passing game.
I think the strong safety and the safety position as a whole has to be an X factor for both teams. You look at Will Allen, the strong safety. He's going to be asked to cover the tight end, Jermaine Gresham. He has to win that battle. And the Bengals safeties, period, both free and strong, have to do a great job in coverage this week, especially when you have speed guys like Mike Wallace that can take the top off of a defense. So those safeties will be put in a lot of situations where they're going to have to make plays. Let's look at the personnel breakdown in this ball game. You look at where the Bengals have to improve. The offensive line, 20 sacks is not going to get it done if you're trying to make the playoffs. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have to do a better job defensively of getting off the field. Almost 50% of third down conversions. That's not going to get you to the Super Bowl. I actually like the Bengals in this ball game. I think the Bengals finally get over the hump and knock off the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they'll do it with a passing game. And I like the defensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals causing havoc in the backfield, getting sacks on Ben Roethlisberger, who's very tough to bring down. I also want to thank the Steelers fan forums and the Bengals fan forums for always showing football game plan support.